Hello, Chronoholics. I am Dr. Karan Madan. And welcome to another episode of Dive Into the Industry, where we get a glimpse behind the curtain and talk to eminent personalities from the industry. Today, our guest is Mr. Ed Meylan, the CEO of Moser. Hi, Ed. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to Delhi, my friend.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So let's just dive right in, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us about the latest collection that you released, the Spiced Aqua Pioneer. What prompted those colors?
It's a long journey, as everything we try to do in terms of creating inspiration. For that one, we need to look back a little bit towards what we did last year.
Sure.
And starting maybe with Studio Underdog collaboration.
Right.
If you remember, Richard, the
right.
owner and founder of Studio Underdog, he designed that passion fruit collection that we presented, which combines two different colors, very different. The purple on the outer side and beautiful orange, yellow center part.
Wow.
And that's something that we wouldn't have created at Moser. It was really his idea. And really, for me, that's the point of collaborations in general. It opened a kind of a new perspective on combination of colors.
Right.
Moser is known for beautiful dyes with nice colors, but usually we focus on one color. And here it was the idea of contrast.
Colors on the dial, yeah.
Yes, and if you look at Watches and Wonders this year, we did the Pop collection, which is there, again, very contrasted colors combination. With natural stones. Some of them are here, maybe we'll present them. But these are natural stones, so it's a very complex technique. We cannot do that many, and we said, okay, now can we do something a little bit more sporty, but with that kind of inspiration? One of the colors I started the Pop collection with was the combination between coral and turquoise stone. Yeah. It's beautiful turquoise color and the orange. Yeah. And that was basically the inspiration in saying, hey, let's do a more sporty version in the Pioneer, and then find a cool name for it. So that's how the Spiced Aqua came together.
It's pretty spicy and it's pretty aquatic,
It is. No doubt, it's always difficult. We like to have like nicknames for watches that stick, that people, just like you, said, hey, can I see the Spiced Aqua? Rather than the Pioneer Center Second, with the orange and blue dye. We try to have those nicknames.
I mean, the nomenclature aside, the fun names stick. More for the more part.
Yeah. It's important. Wonderful. It's part of the concept.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've already talked about the Pop collection that I wanted to talk to you about. We get the inspiration behind it, but the concept citrus green as well as the streamliner with those matrix green dial, those are no slouches either. I mean, those are fantastic looking watches. I mean, what technique do you use for that matrix green dial?
So we have different matrix green. We have the classic one that you find in the center second, which is basically
it's a fume dial, isn't it?
It's a traditional fume dial, but we use the sunburst finishing on a brass dial, and this is really the historical fume dial from Moser. It's just a different color. We always test new colors, and the matrix green came out very nicely a few years ago when we introduced the streamliner center second. We call it the Green Dragon, but it's basically. That's the core, I would say, technique that we use pretty much for a big part of our diet, especially in the beginning, since 2012 and even before we took over. Now there's a new matrix screen that we find in the Chrono, which is with a different technique, which is called the frozen dial. There, it's again a base of brass, but here we use a different technique where we hand engrave a stamp. And then you create a structure, and then you go and hit the brass.
It's pretty fine work, though, isn't it?
It's extremely fine, and then
force.
Exactly, and then you get the structure. It makes it. It has to be very sharp, so you get this kind of glittering effect, very shiny. And then you create the base color, which is the matrix green, and then you do the fume, and then you put the lacquer on top of it to get this very vibrant and transparent color.
Wonderful. How was your experience at Watches and Wonders this year, and what does it mean for Moser as an integrated independent to go toe-to-toe with the big names?
Well, I think Watches and Wonders is the place to be. It's the Wonder Week of our industry. That's where the entire ecosystem comes together. We have all our suppliers, a lot of clients. I hope many of you from India come, and if you haven't, you should definitely come and visit Watches and Wonders. It's a place where you basically get a good pulse of the industry, discover the latest novelties. All the medias are there. for us, it's a great platform to express a little bit who we are
Yeah.
and what we stand for. And we usually don't launch too much of the commercial goods.
Sure.
We rather try to make a statement,
Right.
Artistic statement,
That's
or
true.
innovative statement, or provocative statement.
Right. No,
That's
as is evident with what you guys do every year at Watches and Wonders.
Well, we try to be. I mean, again, it's a place where people want to see the extraordinary.
That's right.
If you're there to present the watches that anyway will be in the store a month or two later, I think I don't really see the point.
That's
I think you go there as you would go to a car show where you want to see the concept cars. You want to see the crazy concept.
That's right. You don't want to see the production models over there.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah,
so that's what we try to do, and at the same time, we actually sell those concepts. But if you look at the pop collection, it was an expression of a moment, an artistic expression of what maybe our spirits are right now. A lot of colors and I think it's always interesting for people to discover those.
Moser has been pretty famous for their colors and for their daring-do attitude towards watchmaking for the most part. I think that's the pop collection, and now the spiced Aqua. That is actually the embodiment of the attitude that you just spoke about.
Yeah, I think what we always try to do at Moser is to create this tension between very traditional watchmaking. If you look at the quality of our movements, the inspiration behind it, many of the three-quarter bridge, hand-worn movement, inspired by traditional pocket watches. At the same time, you make a spiced Aqua dial and put a rubber strap on it, and suddenly it becomes a very modern watch. So it's always this tension between traditional watchmaking and modern watchmaking that we try to achieve. I grew up in a family of watchmakers for generations, so I'm very anchored in this tradition, and I want to respect it and further develop it, protect it. In parallel, I want to be in the moment and grasp the present and the future. So that's what we're trying to do constantly at Moser. And I think that's why we see Moser as a bit of a bridge between traditional and modern watchmaking.
On that note, are you envisioning that two of your lines, the Heritage and the Endeavor, are going to be more traditional looking, as well as the aesthetics are going to be traditional, versus the Pioneer and the Streamliner are going to be more sporty, more modern?
It's a great question. I don't think so, because the more traditional the design might, or the core of the watch, like a Heritage might be, the more modern we need to play with. It's in the dial or maybe the materials, because of that tension. I think, yes, the base of an Endeavor is a very elegant, classic watch. But if you look at it, what I don't want is that people can compare it with a Calatrava, a Patrimony, a Jules Audemars, or
I see what you're saying there.
Because that was a problem of Moser 12 years ago. When I acquired Moser, it was too much wannabe like those established brands. Now today you put a beautiful center second Moser with an enamel dial, with a green enamel dial or purple enamel dial, as we just released. Suddenly it's completely different. It doesn't mean it has to please everyone. We don't need to please everyone. We make less than 4,000 watches per year, but we have to make a statement. Every watch is an art piece. It tells a story. It is polarizing. But that's who we are. That's why there's a brand like Moser. Otherwise, there's 200 brands out there. So we don't need another one.
And then from the collector's perspective, when I look at a Moser, I would also want my story to be associated with a particular Moser that I want to buy. It should not be a run-of-the-mill watch. It should not be available on the mass market. It should not be trading on the secondary market either, because I would want to have that kind of a piece unique to myself, because there is such limited production. And you have to balance that across all your SKUs, so each piece that you make is barely 1 of 100. Just about.
I would say the most common one, if we have a center second, maybe we have 250 up to 300 if it's really.
There you go. So 1 out of 250 watches, hey, I would pay that much money for it. I would gladly do.
But again, as you said very correctly, I mean, at the end, it has to tell a story for you. What's your story? I don't know. There needs to be this connection. There's so many models out there from so many brands. And I always encourage people can come to me and say, why should I buy a Moser? Which one should I buy? I'm saying it's difficult for me to tell you.
That's right.
You need to get that feeling. You need to get a connection that this is the right one. There's so many and these are expensive products. Take the time, choose it wisely. Don't get too excited right away. Because I think the most important thing is to buy a watch that you feel you still want to wear in 10 years from now.
That's right.
We try really to create watches that we feel could be timeless.
Sure.
Obviously, it's easier with a skeleton or a Vanta black dial or things like that. But if it's a spiced aqua that we mentioned, which is orange and turquoise, is it really something you feel like you want to wear for many years? I think it's a beautiful and very unique design.
Yeah. But you also don't want to fall out of love with it after a few months or so.
Exactly. I think you have to be careful that it's not like a fashion effect of like, oh, I love it now, and then in 6 months I want something else. Well, if you can afford and have hundreds of watches, that's great. Yeah, and you don't really care. Anyway, you're changing all the time.
We have those kind of people in our community as well.
But I think it's important to have I mean, for us, it's the important clients. Of course, we love to have people that are repeat buyers and all those things. But I think it's important as a brand to have people that might save money for months, for years to buy that watch.
That's right.
And then it's a very you in a way as a brand you have a responsibility towards those people that first it works well, but also that you created a design that they will love for the years to come. Because I don't think it's fair to say like, well, we expect you to buy another one a year later, right? So.
But as a community leader, I totally understand what you're saying, because I get a lot of queries as to, you know what, I have this much budget, I've done the mainstream stuff, I'm not looking for an independent. And then that's when I have to really rack my brain to give them the right advice. Yeah. Because, you know, I would want them to make the right decision for the long term as well.
Yeah, but your answer doesn't have to be very specific. You could say, listen, I would look at this brand and that brand because it seems like it matches. Sure. And then within those brands, what are the different models that could be?
Absolutely.
I think it's, for me, very difficult to say you should buy this one because that's so personal. Yeah. And I think the beauty of buying a watch like this is also about the journey of finding it.
Absolutely.
So if somebody tells you to buy it, it's kind of defeats the purpose.
I know, absolutely. You kind of discover it and you fall in love with it, and then you kind of get people to talk about it and then make up your mind. I think that's the right process to do so,
And I think that's the way you feel in love for the long term.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm glad our values resonate. On the topic, you mentioned this before, on the topic of collaborations, you do very selective collaborations. You've done it with Alpine Motorsport. That's a wonderful collaboration, in fact, because that gets your watches out there, more visible, you know. Yeah. That works from the brand's perspective. But talk to us about how you've worked with MB&F and how you've worked with Studio Underdog. Well, totally contrasting philosophies there, and yet you've managed to build watches that speak to a vast majority of the collecting fan base.
Well, I think the choice of who do you want to collaborate with is more of a people choice in a way. It's you want to work with people that bring value to you and through the process, exploring new things. At the same time, there needs to be a little bit of a common ground or a common feeling. Sure. The first collaboration we have ever done, like a true collaboration, was probably with MB&F. Mm-hmm. We worked with Max for many years because we were supplying hairsprings to him. Yeah. And I knew Max for a long time. And one day, I think 2017, we sat down together and said, hey, he was like, he's the king of collaboration. He was like, do you want to do can I do something with you and use your dials in our watches? And I'm like, well, you know, as a brand, that's interesting to give you our dials, but at the same time, I think it would be more fair to have a proper balanced collaboration. That's how I proposed the idea of having one MB&F and one Moser created. Yeah. Yeah. And that was a huge success, and I think it's fair to have like both brands exposed like this. Yeah. For me, the key is really, as I said, to find people that are not too close to us. Mm-hmm. And as for me, in a way, the furthest the better, because that's where you learn a lot. Sure. And in our industry, working with MB&F, which is in different price segment, very crazy modern, is very interesting because they pushed us. Sure. It made us, for example, in that particular case. And if you see the evolution of the brand since this collaboration, it really helped us explore the third dimension, the skeletons, the cylindrical hairsprings and stuff like that, which we're using now in watches like the one I'm wearing, or the cylindrical tourbillon, even the Spiced Aqua cylindrical tourbillon. These are things we probably wouldn't have done had we not collaborated with MB&F. Mm-hmm. I did the reference to Studio Underdog before. The pop collection or the Spiced Aqua colors combination is something that wouldn't come from me. Sure. So it had to be triggered by somewhere, by someone, and that's where Studio Underdog influenced us a lot. I love the watermelon, so even before our collaboration, I had those kind of reflection about colors that Studio Underdog generated in our brain. And then there's many other things. Right now, we're working on a few collaborations for the future. I think there's going to be next year already 2 collaborations, one completely outside our industry, which I hope people will like. We've definitely made people talk, but that's what's fun about it. It's going beyond the circle of the expectations. I love to surprise our community, and I want people to be like, oh my God, I would have never expected. And to what extent do you commit to that collaboration? If we take the example of Alpine, Alpine Formula One team reached out to us. They were looking for a timekeeper, and I told them, like, if you want us just to put our logo on your car, or to put your logo on our watches, I'm not interested. I want a proper collaboration where we exchange our engineers, we work on concepts, we try to help you, and you will help us. You can help us with new materials, which you'll discover in the years to come. But at the same time, I was like, how a 200 years old traditional mechanical watch brand based in Switzerland can help a very high-tech, innovative Formula One team. And that's how we worked on a device. For example, have you seen the Mechanics watch that we recently launched? Which is a Formula One dedicated kind of connected watch. It's not a connected watch that tracks your pulse and your steps and your sleep. It's really dedicated to Formula One performance.
For racing and
exactly. It's all about the timing and communication, because that's what you need. When you have 54 people in a garage working together during a race, there need to be a choreography to the seconds, even the fraction of seconds, all together, working together, and that's what this device is enabling, and we offered it to our community for those who own the Alpine watches. So
there was actual exchange of technology happened between you and Alpine, right?
That's for sure. And you'll be surprised. We're also developing some pretty cool stuff that will go into the cars, the Alpine cars, not the Formula One cars, the real cars that are for sale. There's going to be new materials, very interesting ones, starting 2026. And the Mechanics watch is another example. So a lot of projects in parallel. And that's what is collaboration, because it's exciting for our engineers. It's exciting for theirs. We learn a lot from the process. We develop things that we wouldn't have developed without that collaboration.
Absolutely. I guess, and I see that the market trends also dictate that collaborations are what get the eyeballs, what get the news going, what gets the interest going as well. But do you think that is the way to go forward in the mainstream?
Well, I think you need to be careful not to repeat yourself too much. There's always a challenge to find a new collaboration that makes sense, that adds value. We've done with MB&F, tomorrow to do with a similar brand or again with them. Why? We did another collaboration with MB&F when it came to Only Watch. It was completely different, made sense. Now to challenge that, it's going to be difficult. Doesn't mean we can't, but I think it's going to be difficult. So we need to find new ideas, new type of collaborations, and that's why I think at some point as a brand, there might need to be a pause where you reflect a little bit, take a little bit of distance. But again, there's so many industries, so many crazy brands or artists you can collaborate with. I think we have quite some time with Moser before we stop. So you'll see already next year, as I said, there's going to be one collaboration with another watch brand, which is going to be very interesting.
Wonderful.
But I think the craziest will be something else, which is outside our industry.
Okay, we'll look forward to it. I mean, we're all fans of Moser here anyway. Would you be open to doing a limited edition for the Indian watch community, for example?
I think no. I think there's tastes in different markets. If we can, again, if we can push us to do something that we wouldn't do otherwise, better learn and understand the local culture and taste.
Absolutely.
Happy to do so. We did that when we developed, for example, the lunar solar calendar for the Chinese market. I'm not a big fan of saying, it's the year of the dragon. Let's put a dragon on the dial.
That's just easy to do, isn't it?
It's maybe I don't know. That's not really what I consider as something for the local market, but definitely open to that. And I think Ethos has a lot of great ideas around that. So hopefully in the next years we'll have something specific.
Crossed. And a collaboration has to mean more than what individual brands stand for. The collaborative process has to be a level above, and that's what you aim for. It's pretty evident.
I mean, the market is not forbidding. If you do something that is a shortcut or too simplistic, then you see how difficult it could be to sell it. So that's why for us it has to be the right quantities and provocative. It's when you do a collaboration. I mean, of course, you want to sell those watches, but I think the end game is how much more traction you get behind the brand thanks to that. Getting excitement, surprise, and less about like, oh, we sold 20 or 100 watches more. It's not going to make a big difference at the end of the year. It's really the impact in the head of the community, of the clubs, of the watch collectors, and people who have never heard about mechanical watches and are still surprised that they can be that expensive.
Well, I get that a lot, so I can understand. On the topic of how the market plays a role, the post-pandemic era saw a massive boom across not just mainstream brands, but independents. Independents saw great visibility, a great exposure.
Even more for independent,
Yeah, absolutely. But now that the trends are kind of coming back to a baseline level, where do you see Moser going from here and reacting to the market? I mean, do you even react to the market is the question?
Well, we obviously react to the market in terms of where we want to put our efforts in terms of growing the markets. Where do we think are the strategic markets for us for the long term? In terms of design, less. We try to anticipate. We try to be a step ahead. We try to surprise the customers. We try to surprise the market. So we're very careful about not doing like too much consumer research and asking too many questions. We make watches which make sense for us. Obviously now we see like diameters going smaller. But there's a trend there across the industry. So we're working on things like this. But for us, it's more, I think the strategy is like, what are the markets where we see the most potential to grow? Where are we and where are we not? And we should be. So we just recently opened our first boutique in Korea, for example. Korea is a very important market where we were not present. South America is another one. The US is growing very fast. India has huge potential, and that's why I'm here. So that's the way we think, but less from a creative standpoint, where we create the trends. We don't want to follow the trends because we, in a way, it's also specific to brands like Moser. We are like the haute couture of watchmaking. Absolutely, we're not the prêt-à-porter where you say, oh, this year is green, okay, let's do everything green. No, we're gonna say like next year maybe orange will be the color, and that's why we're working on orange before everybody does the orange.
So you're more a forward-looking brand than a kind of a reactive brand, as you would say.
But I think that's why we always say we are an ecosystem, and it took a long time for bigger brands and groups to understand that they need small brands like us.
Absolutely.
Because we are like the pilot fish, like we are a little bit a step ahead and try things.
You're the trendsetters, absolutely.
We try things, we experiment things, we are the innovators, creators. I think we're faster to bring things to market than they are. And if it works, then they can copy it afterwards. Absolutely. They're pretty good at doing that.
Absolutely. It's also about the risk-taking capacity of a smaller operation, relatively smaller operation, as compared to the big names. So we have a manufacturing line set up and everything. I totally understand.
But as we grow, it's more and more difficult. But luckily, we're 120 people at Moser, and we have a culture of being agile and flexible, and that's been very helpful in the recent years.
Do you reckon that secondary market is a big force in terms of how Moser is appreciated and purchased by buyers?
I mean, the secondary market is a very difficult thing to really assess. What's the reality for every single brand? Some very rich or big brands are very active in secondary market and protecting it and buying back, etc. The real prices is very difficult. We're a brand that I think are quite healthy there. I mean, we have a little bit more at the moment watches than we used to, which is normal. I think there needs to be a liquidity. It's not an obsession of keeping the prices as high as possible, but obviously when we see like too many things coming onto the secondary market, we tend to stop the model. So we have an active role there, which is more about take the data from the secondary market and react in the primary to make sure that we kind of try to balance the value. I tell people this, we're not a brand where our objective is to make you richer by investing in our products. What I want to try to do is that if you buy a watch and want to resell it in 2 or 3 years from now, you don't lose money. That's my objective. It's not for you to double your money.
Absolutely.
If that's the kind of, because I mean, I'm happy if it happens every now and then, but I don't think it's the kind of customers we want. We're not
Trust me, those are not the collectors we want either.
But it created a lot of confusion in our industry in the recent years, because I think a lot of brands got a little bit over excited about what they thought the demand was for their products, which was not the reality, because there were too many people speculating, ordering in different places. Suddenly they're like, oh my God, we have so much demand, let's produce a lot more. Those people disappeared when the secondary market went down, and now they have a lot of inventory around the world, and that puts them in a very difficult situation.
It does.
So we didn't get over ourselves when our prices were crazy. We have certain products that are still on wait list and trading above retail in the secondary market. But as I said, this is not the objective. The objective for me is to protect the value of our products, but not get people to speculate on our products.
Just to close out that topic of the market, I assume India is a big market for you, because for the record, we are sitting inside the newly launched Moser Boutique Experience Zone in Gurugram at Ethos City of Time. And this is a pretty gutsy move from the brand, don't you think? I mean, expansion for the sake of expansion versus a thought-out process where you build experience zones like this, that must signal a lot of faith in the Indian market.
You know, we moved into the Indian market in 2019, thanks to the initiative of the Ethos group, the Sabu family, and in particular Pranav, CEO of Ethos, had the vision that there was a space for independent brands. We've been talking for many years before that, and we said, no, we don't think this can happen now, but at some point, the stars started aligning, and we believe that it was the right time, and we've seen the market evolve. Moser being more and more successful here, more followers, more owners, more and more dynamic. I think if we look at the Swiss watch industry, India is market number 17 or something like this. It's about $300 million a year of watches imported officially in India. For us, India is market number 10. So it's definitely a more important market for us than it is for overall industry, and it's growing very, very fast. I think this year we 60% growth in Indian market. So even before we opened the boutique, we have 5 doors. Now it's the number 6. We believe in it. I think there's a bright future in your market. It's a big market. It's huge size-wise,
absolutely.
From a geographic. So as a small brand producing 4,000 watches, we have to be very careful not to spread yourself too thin with too many doors in markets. So markets like India, and if I'm allowed to do the parallel, similar for us in China, these are big geography, large populations. Not everybody can afford our watches, obviously, but many can in many different cities. So we always said it's quality over quantity. So let's pick the key locations and get as much visibility as possible. Centralize inventory, because we cannot have in every single big city 12 to 20 watches. So we rather have locations like this boutique, where you have like the core collection, a lot of things you can see. People will eventually come to Delhi, visit the boutique.
Absolutely.
Maybe later, in a couple of years, we'll have the next boutique in Mumbai or Bangalore or wherever is the next city and the next opportunity.
That was actually my next question, but you've answered it already.
Well, it's always a question of opportunity. Here we have a great space. It's a good location for people to come and visit. I think it's a the location is great. It's close to the Ethos headquarters, so we can have the good collection very close by. I think it makes sense, and then it will become a destination.
That's wonderful to know, because India is a big market, and it's high time that the Indian market is also given its due respect in the world stage.
We're discussing right now, and we presented to the Ethos team our plan for the next 5 years. We have big ambitions for Moser to grow, and we want them to be part of it. So it's really like, how do we align our expectations? They always want more watches. We need to understand, it's difficult for me from far away to understand what is the potential. I think there is huge potential, but that's all coming together and grow that together. And that's why I believe there's a bright future for the Indian market in general, and Moser being kind of at the forefront for the independent brands. Obviously, it will help other brands be stronger in this market.
Sure. No, visions are aligning. Good things are in place, I guess.
Yeah, great success with Moser will help a lot independent brands.
So let me talk to you about your experience as the CEO of Moser. I mean, you took over in 2012 from the Moser family, and you've been CEO ever since. What have been the greatest challenges for you?
Well, 2012 was a difficult time. It was the Moser family, but many other independent investors behind Moser. Sure. A lot of money had been invested, and unfortunately, it was running into some very bad financial difficulties, and they had to find a solution. We came kind of as the saviors, sure. And to be honest, we were a little bit naive about how easy it would be to turn around a brand like this one that was facing those quality, financial, reliability problems. It took a little bit of time. I think for me, the biggest challenge was really to get a sane, strong base to build on.
Sure.
Before you get into marketing and building brand awareness and creating new collections, you need to make sure your movements are good quality, reliable, and you can produce them at a reasonable price. Sure. And all those three elements were very bad back then. So it took a couple of years to do that, and then suddenly it all came together at the right time. The market helped us a little bit.
Sure.
It started, I would say, we breaking even point was probably around 2015, but it was really like, kind of, you don't invest too much in marketing so you can break even.
Sure.
And then 2018 suddenly things started accelerating, and then came COVID, where we thought we were dead, and actually the complete opposite happened.
Absolutely.
And then the rest is history. I think we took the right decisions at the right time. Sometimes you need to create your luck, and the market expanded, but at the same time, we managed to go to build this huge community, and at the same time get closer to our customers. Actually, we sell part of our collections direct to consumer, which transformed our business model, allowed us to invest much more into innovation, creation, in marketing, do collaborations with Alpine, for example, and that transformed us.
And also, during that time, you hit kind of the ball out of the park with the Streamliner. It was timed right, it worked very well, and when the rest of the world was not selling anybody a steel sports watch, you guys came and said, hey, here's one, and this is the wonderful one. This is a wonderful watch.
I think everybody had the same idea at the same time. We came up a little bit earlier than the others, and probably with a bolder design than the others. It was always, for me, important to do something that stands out.
Right.
And now, when I see the Streamliner, I think and that was the ambition. But the more I see it, the more I see the evolution and the demand and how people react to it, the more I think there is potential of the Streamliner becoming kind of this iconic integrated steel bracelet of the 21st century.
Certainly.
Maybe like the Octo Finissimo, which was maybe the generation before us.
Sure.
But since the Nautilus and the Royal Oak, there's been a big gap before the Octo Finissimo came out.
Right.
And maybe, if you ask me, I'm confident the Streamliner will be that next generation, but it takes time. It's 5 years into the Streamliner. Sure. A lot of people are telling me like it's growing on me. A lot of people were shocked when we launched it, but so many people love it and are waiting to get one. And we see here the bracelet on the tray. It's beautiful. It's an art piece, and it took us 7 years to design it. Many times I stopped the process because I was not happy with it. I'm so glad we did that. And yes, it came January 2020, beginning of the COVID. We thought, oh my God, what's going to happen to us? And at the same time, the collaborations with MB&F came. We started selling direct, and the Streamliner came out. Is it luck, or were we smart to do that at that point? I think sometimes you need to have a little bit of luck. But at the same time, we worked very hard to put those three elements together.
Sure.
And that's why we've been so successful then.
I think the brave forced their own luck, and from an owner of a Streamliner, Matrix Green, you have my compliments for a fantastically executed watch.
Thank you.
It's a wonderful watch, 1828 is when Moser was founded.
Yeah.
So are there big plans for the 200th anniversary coming up in 3 years?
Of course. Fireworks in 2028.
Wow.
It's going to be the year of Moser. We've been working on it from a product standpoint now for about 5 years already. So there's some big things coming. Some simple complications, some big complications, some new materials, a lot of things. Also from a team standpoint, we kicked off now a few months ago the 200 years anniversary. So really the reflection about what do we want it to be? I mean, we're going to celebrate 200 years only once, right?
Sure,
so,
absolutely.
it's our responsibility to make it special.
Sure.
We're going to be moving into a new building and manufacture, which is a historical building linked to the Moser history on Moser Square, next to the biggest waterfalls in Europe, which is at the moment it's 500 meters away from where we are, but we're in a very industrial area.
Sure.
So it's going to become the temple of the brand, and that's going to be next level for us. And at the same time, how are we going to activate in the market is the big reflection. Are we going to have a big exhibition about the history, about the last 12, 15 years?
Sure.
All that is in the making at the moment, but yes, it's going to be a big year for Moser, and definitely will make people want to make sure people know it's the 200 years of Moser. And we've seen, we're looking at what other brands are doing for their anniversary, and just we want to do it next level.
I'm sure you will. Trust me, I know Moser enough to confidently say that you will. And we're looking forward to 2028 now.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. What are you doing to preserve the history of Moser, the heritage of Moser for the past 200 years? You're a heritage brand, but you're also a young brand. So are you guys in the modern era, are you making efforts to preserve that history of Moser as well?
We do actually. We have a foundation together with the Moser family. So they're not owners of the brand, but we have a foundation together, and I'm part of the board together with my COO. And with the Moser family. There was an amazing gentleman, Roger Nicholas Balziger, who was the honorary. He just passed away now 2 months ago. He was the honorary chairman of Moser. He was the great grandson of Heinrich Moser, and he was the president of the foundation. So there's a bit of a generation transition. It wouldn't have been possible without him. He was really the driving force of that foundation and all this initiative. And we really worked hand in hand with him. To preserve the history of Moser, to work on the history of Moser. He personally wrote books about his great grandfather, one of which came out a year and a half ago. It took him 40 years to write it. He passed away at the age of 81, and he did it with so much passion that we definitely have to continue his legacy. And we're working with his wife, with some other members of the family to continue that. We have a beautiful museum that was created with him, and we had initiatives with him to continue to grow that museum around the Moser family, and not only around the Heinrich Moser, the brand. It's not like a watch museum. It's really a family museum, and that's very important to us.
That's wonderful.
And I invite you to come and visit it. And anybody coming to Switzerland, if you land in Zurich, it's about half an hour from Zurich. It's in Schaffhausen. I think a lot of Indians come and visit that location. Yeah. It's a beautiful place with as I said, the biggest waterfalls in Europe. Yeah. Our museum, our manufacturer, happy to host you there and discover that history, which goes beyond beyond watchmaking. Sure. It's about like how it transformed part of Switzerland. He, for example, created the first hydromechanical dam on the Rhine River, Mr. Moser, 150 years ago, and we still celebrate it, and that's what industrialized the entire region of Schaffhausen. He brought IWC, for example, to Schaffhausen. So there's a lot to talk about beyond Moser. I think that's part of our responsibility. So we're definitely very involved there, and I hope that with the 200 years, we'll be able to make it even special. Also in the memory of Roger, who helped us so much.
Yeah. Absolutely. For the record, there are only two watchmakers, heritage watchmakers in Schaffhausen, Moser and IWC. And I believe you kind of are pretty close by as well.
Yeah, I mean, Schaffhausen is very small in general. So we're very close from a location standpoint. I think even sometimes from a design standpoint, there's this Germanic taste and flair in both for both brands. We are on the border to Germany, but also a lot of my staff worked for IWC before. We have initiatives to train watchmakers together. So we're pretty close to each other.
That's wonderful to see in the spirit of collaboration and creating better products in the end. That's what matters the most. These were the easy questions. Are you ready for some tough questions?
Always.
Yeah. Your absolute favorite Moser watch? Tough question.
I think I had that question 3 times in the last 2 days. For me, there's obviously like some emotional links to those watches. They're like babies. There's some that were essential in the transformation of Moser. And if I look back, probably the first watch that really helped me understand what we could do with Moser is the Endeavor Perpetual Calendar Funky Blue. So it's a watch that was created before my time, but we brought the Funky Blue Fumé dial and the Kudu band, and suddenly a watch that was kind of dusty previously and not really thought after became very relevant, and people rediscovered our perpetual calendar, which is one of the most amazing movement and one of the reasons we invested in Moser. So that's very important watch for me. The first concepts we did with no logo, very important watches as well, because it helped us express also this philosophy of this is not about branding, it's not about marketing, it's about the product, it's about craftsmanship, it's about showing what we do as an art piece. And that helped us also in that reflection in pushing the boundaries. But obviously you mentioned the Streamliner. I think the Streamliner chronograph, it's the flyback chronograph developed by Agenor, which we invested in since. So it's a company we work with, another family of watchmakers that we love to work with. I think is essential in the creation of Moser. So that makes it a lot. I like Pioneer also because that's my weekend watch. When my kids were very little, you scratch your watch everywhere. You're doing a lot of things, and I was happy to wear that. So there's really too many at the moment. I love to wear the skeleton, but at the same time I'm wearing an Endeavor. So it really depends the moment. Also sometimes in the day, I'm wearing a suit in the evening. I like the classic. I like the Endeavor. I like the beauty of those cases. I think they're extremely elegant, and especially with the Vanta Black or enamel dials. And in my everyday, I like to wear my Streamliner.
Lovely. So quick fire. Heritage or Endeavor?
Endeavor.
How about Streamliner and Pioneer?
Streamliner.
Streamliner? Nice. I think this has been wonderful. We've got a wonderful glimpse into Moser as a brand, as a watchmaker. And you, I mean, it's very rare that we get to talk to you, and it's been an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure.
And thank you for your valuable time today. It's been, hopefully we can kind of collaborate in the future on other projects and other ideas.
Oh, of course. Always happy to hear and get ideas. And well, thank you for your contribution to the Indian market.
Thank you.
And which has an impact globally. So really appreciate that. I think we see markets like this one, more and more educated people that know so much about our industry, and that's thanks to your contribution and educating everybody and opening the eyes about other sides of our industry beyond the product. That's very important because, again, it doesn't make sense to make watches that expensive. It's all about the details and the people behind it. And if you don't understand that, or if there's nobody to explain it, then people will look at it and be like, this is crazy. And it's a beautiful tradition that needs to be respected and understood, and you contribute to that. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This is what we do at Chronoholic. We tell stories. Thank you for watching. We'll be back with another episode of Dive Into the Industry.
Thank you.